Good morning, friends and neighbors. This is your intrepid host this morning, David Null, also known as AKA Hawkeye Two Feathers. And it is Wednesday morning, July the 11th, I believe it is, 2018. And I bid you greetings and honor, blessings to you. From my heart, soul, and my soul heart to you, I always wish you the best, and you and your family and all concerned. Now, I've done many videos where I guess you could say I've touched on a lot of negative things. And these are things that people need to be aware of. They're things that I've always tried to give a positive outlook. If I speak on negative things, it's because a lot of times people don't understand that these things exist, or that they need to be explained possibly in a different way. And so my job as a communicator is to try to take some of these ideas and get them across in ways that are hopefully easily understood, or from a different point of view at least. So if somebody's got a different point of view, I'm probably that one person, because I surely look at things from a different perspective. And so one of the things that's been extremely on my mind, and I put a video out yesterday, maybe, or whatever, but it had to do with the boys trapped in the cave in Thailand. And I couldn't believe that the negative remarks I was seeing from people in the chat rooms and stuff when the boys were first found, and about the day after, and the trouble they were having. And I absolutely was astounded, and still am really, at the negative forces that our society, meaning people in our society, who have just absolutely gone bonkers, in my opinion, about, well, just leave the boys in there. Why would anybody want to go to the trouble to get them out? It was their own damn fault. Oh my gosh. And so I had to respond. And my response was, if you can't say anything nice, please don't say anything at all, Not to be rude, but, they're human beings trapped inside a mountain, So with that said, though, I'm always trying to explain to folks that it is our positive intent that makes our world. And I might not say that exactly the way I've said it now, but I continue to meditate, I continue to pray, and I continue to ask for guidance in how to explain this. Matters of the heart. And for a long time, most of us, myself included, on my journey for the spiritual, for my life, what is my purpose, where am I headed? I know I'm going to die in this meat sack one day, and so I'm going somewhere else other than here. Now I understand what it is, and it's like it's made my time here easier, if you want to know the truth. And also I understand now what my purpose is. And I understand what all the factors were, where I spent 45 years of my life. I'm almost 66 now, so I'm 65 currently. So for a large majority of my life, I spent trying to commit suicide and trying to get out of this world. But because of addictions and medications and brain traumas, and some people thought they were really trying to help me, and they just made me crazier. And so it's taken a lot of self-healing to get me to here. But during this time, I'm always asking the question of myself, mostly, how can I be more positive? How can I help other people to understand that when you start changing your life and admit your wrongs, go through the spiritual journey, and you have to go inside. You have to forgive yourself. You have to do all these things. And I'm going to talk on more of that in a different video as a separate topic as this. And I have discussed this of my past and things and my addictions and how I've how I've made it through, because yeah, I still like to smoke cigarettes, and I I love my coffee. So it's like, have I rid myself of all of my addictions? No, but I've only got maybe three now. You know, if you were to say that I really want those, I do without cigarettes, and I challenge myself to, hey, it's 7 miles one way to town. I'm going to drive 14 miles for a pack of cigarettes. Well, am I out of bread? Am I out of milk? Okay, I got tobacco. I'm going to roll my own. Okay, but so this is a personal journey of myself. What does this have to do with positive attitude? Okay, and looking at negative things or issues. And so what I had to do was like, I'm running out of cigarettes. And I'm just using this as an example. It can be anything. I'm running out of cigarettes. Oh my God. So the first thing my body would do, because I was using my brain, crap, I'm almost out. And it's X amount of time to get to town. Oh. So I spent all this time in a negative way for something that I really don't need. I want them, but I don't need them. So in my journey, I also had to go through what is really necessary for life, what is needed, what is a necessity, and what is a want. What I want this, I think I need it. So that's another issue I will discuss in a future video. Our needs versus our wants. I have discussed it in the past, but it was in a video that was tied in with a bunch of other things, life story, things like that. So what I've noticed that when in my life, have a flat tire on the way to work. It puts you behind, and maybe it was the day you were going to be 10 minutes early and surprise the boss and the whole plant, because I'm notoriously late, have been, until recently, by the way, which is kind of strange. But I would go, oh crap. And so that would set my whole day off. Maybe somebody pulled out in front of me, and almost had an accident. And maybe that made me have to wait for a train. And I was late for work anyway when I actually left earlier, which is, like to me was always an oxymoron. I leave early and end up being 5 minutes later than I would have been if I'd have just left at my usual time. That's what happened to me. And so, and I know other folks that it would happen to, it's like, is this just a weird coinky dink or what? Is negative energy following me around? And I look back on some of my incidents and I think, you know what? It's very possible I was dragging negative with me from day to day to day to day. What do I mean by that? Something happened on Monday. Okay, it was a typical Monday, crap. Something happened at work. You have an argument with your spouse or the kids, something, that was back then when their kids were at home and they're going to school. So there's all kinds of issues. And when you're in that mindset in your life, and in your life, if you have that, then you understand what I'm talking about. So it was just stuff, oh man, my favorite cup got broke when I was trying to put it in the sink. Oh man. And that just sets the mindset. And so the entire day would go by. And rather than me think about, well, I broke the cup, big deal. That gives me a chance to go look for another favorite cup. Okay. That's how you put a positive spin on something. Instead, I would spend the entire time bitching about, I broke my favorite cup. And then it made me late. And then I cut my finger. And then the boss hollered at me. And so by the time I got home and the pieces of the cup were still in the sink because I didn't have time to clean the sink because I was going to be late for work, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I get home and then I had to face that. Now it just digs up me being ticked off the whole day because I broke the cup early on. So that's just an example. However, I would bet you if you go through your life and go through your day, you might find things that will tick you off right at the beginning. Somebody maybe flipped you off or something somebody pulled in front of you, you know, the road rage thing, everybody's trying to get to work. So something ticks you off. And rather than trying to release that right then, it carries on in your day. It's so easy for all of us to do. It's so easy. It's like part of humanity. So one of the things that I had to learn in my journey as a shaman and as just wanting to be a spiritual person in my older age, etc., I had to look at this from a different point of view. The different point of view was like, hang on, it was just a cup. Yeah, but it was my favorite cup. You hang on. You gotta chill out here. All right. So, and if you will take the small things and let them off your back, off, you know, like water off a duck's back, as the old expression goes. I haven't heard that in a while, actually. But so if you look at something negatively, and you fester it, it will simply create more negative. Oh, folks are on. Hey, let me say hello. Tinfoil, how you doing? And Marie, hello, or good evening to you. Yes, yes. They got the boys out, huh? Oh, what a couple of divers. Well, that's tragic, but miraculous, the boys made it out. Their good mental intent and all of ours probably made a considerable difference. Yeah, I got 10:06 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Hi, Miss Marie. And yes, Tinfoil, I put a video out about that, sort of, and saying that I believe that it was our positive intent. And also the governor in Thailand, I'm not sure of the whole of that area. The governor, but he made a remark, which I found it curious. I found it curious that the governor made a statement, rather on camera in the press, that they had asked the mountain goddess to withhold the rain for 3 days so they could get the boys out, and that the people in Thailand were praying to the mountain goddess to allow them to be extracted. Holy moly. So in my video, having nothing to do with what they were doing, my whole suggestion was, if we ground ourselves to Mother Earth and we put our intent in, maybe Mother Earth could help us. Now, I just find it rather ironical, if you will, that that's exactly what happened. The rain held off for 2 days, but on the third day, when it was started raining, is the last day they were bringing the boys out. And it also takes longer for the rain to get down through the mountain. So did Mother Nature help us out? I scratch my head and go, let's think about this. Oh, well, it just could have been good coincidence. Either way, I'll take it as a plus, okay? Because there were so many people, hopefully, I know that we're praying. I know myself, I just meditated on it. I mean, I got what the cave looked like in my brain. I've been underground. I've been in caves. With a scuba tank, not much, because I knew if I went in there, I'd get caught. Something would happen to me. But I've been in dry caves that had water in them, where you had to go underwater to get past a certain obstruction to get into the main cavern. So I have been in caves that down here locally, down here in South Georgia. Most folks don't know about some of these caves, and I'm not at liberty, because of the types of caves they are, to say where they are, just in respect to Mother Earth. However, with that said, I believe Mother Earth listened to us. And, you know, okay, you could say what you will or make comment yes or no, believe or don't believe. Okay, fine. But I believe that was a positive result of positive intent. Thus, I'm trying to follow up with this, because there were so many people who were making such negative remarks about this that I just felt was just really unnecessary. You know, I mean, and I'm going to repeat it again. If you can't say something nice, then just zip it. Keep your mouth shut. Just hold it to yourself. It's better just keep, all right, than think it, but please don't put it out there. And so with that said, I looked at some of the, um, I'm always seeking for topics to follow up on. And I believe that this is one of them, in that every day we are awash with negative things. How we respond to those negative things is what creates the rest of our day or week or whatever. And so if we absorb any of that negativity into us and we carry it along, then it's going to negative loves negatives. It refuses to pull a positive. I've never had a flat tire where something good has happened. You know what I'm saying? It's always cost me money. It's cost me time. It's cost me a job or two over the many years. But to the point, though, with that said, actually, in the long run, losing the job put me in a different area, blah, blah, blah. But, at the time, you lost your job. But what's going on? You got conversation I can't see. I know they said one diver was lost. I've only heard of one diver that got lost, tinfoil. Wow, the lesson I get is what I already knew. Don't go in dangerous caves, especially ones that flood. I'm amazed they got all the boys through. Bet it was harder than we think, too. It was harder than we think. And they've showed different areas of the cave. And as I've said in my previous videos, I've been in caves that were dry. And while we were in there, we had a 2-inch rain thunderstorm that lasted 45 minutes. And by the time we got out of the cave, there was huge amounts of water flooding the cave. And so it's I understand, especially as far back as they went. Now, if you live in Thailand and people ride up to this thing, that cave's been known for a long time. It's been mapped. Caves that I've been in have never been mapped. Me and a friend of mine 30 years ago tried to map this one cave, and we went in several days in a row. We took compasses and we drew maps, and all that got lost. But to my thinking, there are several caves in my area down here that have never been mapped. So if you go in there, and get lost, well, that's it. But you can climb through. There'll be a rock as big as a person with a little crawl space. And on the other side of that is a huge opening. So in order to get into that big opening, and you can see it, you got to crawl through that small spot. And that's what these boys did. That's how you got to the back of the cave. Now you say, well, that was dangerous. Yeah, but if it's not wet, it's okay. You're climbing over rocks and stuff. But when the cave floods, when you're in the back, and especially when you're young, if you see water, the first thing you're going to do is back up, because they were inexperienced. Now, I don't put any blame on anyone. They were a victim of really bad circumstances. But from my point of view, as a spelunker for many years, I mean, I started going into caves when I was, 12, 13 years old down in Florida. But see, I love it. I love it. I can't find people to go in these caves with me around here. I have been trying to draft people to go with me. Look, come on, man. I got all the gear. I got rope. I got, helmets, whatever. Let's go. Nah, they won't go with me. But anyway, but that some of us like that. Now, for me, see, I would never jump off a cliff onto one of those parachute things. Ain't gonna do it. Ain't gonna do it. I used to do some rock climbing in my younger days, but I'd turn around and look down and go, nah. But now crawling in a hole in the ground, give me a flashlight. I'm off. Who knows, But so responding to negative things, to stay on topic. I got a cough today for some reason. Haven't been anywhere to get sick, so I don't know. I would reluctantly go with you, but I'd make alternative suggestions too, like skydiving might be safer. Well, I know several people that I used to work with who were in the airborne paratrooper division in the Army, and out of Columbus, Fort Bragg, and another place in Alabama. I can't remember the name of it right now, but anyway, they were always trying to say, hey, go skydiving. Now, I love airplanes. I've been up in airplanes. I used to build and work for Mall Aircraft, and I'd go up in their little aircraft all the time, every time I could twist somebody's arm. And I've often thought that would be really cool to, parachute out of the plane. But then again, if I'm under the ground, I can't fall on it. I mean, I just keep thinking splat, and I'm afraid of heights in a way. I think at some point in a previous life, I must have been thrown off or pushed off a cliff, because I can get up close to the edge, but mm-mm. And a walking bridge over a deep chasm, like at, what is that, Lookout Mountain outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee. There's this swinging bridge that goes over this deep crevasse. I can't walk it. Can't do it. Can't do it. I've tried many times. I've been there at least 4 times. And each time I've tried to cross that bridge, because I know, oh, these kids run across it and everything. But I start to walk out on that bridge, and no matter what I do, no matter where I go, no matter how I look up, down, sideways, or focus on the bridge, I turn around and go back. I can't do it. I don't know what that swinging bridge thingy is. And down there, I don't know. Now, as a kid, I used to swing through the trees, with the greatest of ease, like Tarzan. But I cannot cross that bridge up there at Lookout Mountain there. There's a park up there. Anyway, no, it's not exactly safe. Jimi Hendrix was going to be a paratrooper. Luckily, he got injured. Yeah, I feel a strong instinctive fear standing on the peak of a roof looking down. I've done a lot of roof work, and it doesn't bother me. If I'm on a roof, I used to do steel work, and the highest I ever worked was 100 foot, and it was straight down. Now, come to think of it, that there was an accident back when I was an almost accident. It was an accident as far as the putting up the trusses were, but we were putting up 2 trusses on a steel building, and we bolted them together on the ground, and the crane was lifting them up. Well, it was my job to crawl out there where the cable was for the crane, and I had to attach the loose one, which was attached to the crane, to the one that was already up, and we'd pass a purlin on and then bolt them together. Well, the one time that I was up there, the crane operator was wacko, and I damn near killed him with my spud wrench. But he boomed the crane the wrong way and broke the bolts at the haunches, and sent me tumbling off of this thing with 100 foot straight down. And I grabbed onto the cable and literally was like dangling like this, screaming USOB. But you talked about 4-letter words in a row. And I got down, when they finally got me on the ground, 2 people had to hold me off from beating that crane operator to death. I mean, I was mad, but he almost killed me, I'd have been dead if I hit that pavement. That's all there is to it. So, sticking with the being positive, every day we are confronted with things that we have the opportunity to accept or reject anything that is put to us. For example, somebody flips you a bird on the way to work. You can go, have a nice day, or you can go, you MF, blah, 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 and get pissed off. And then you fling a bird at somebody further down the road. It gains momentum, actually. But if you can get to the point where you can take these negative things in your day, in your daily life, it might not be that this is happening on a daily basis, but just something happens. How you face that negative, regardless of what it is. I mean, to the point of it being as serious as someone being in an accident and dying, or being severely hurt, or something like that. Now, that's the extreme, okay? I'm speaking more in the smaller things in life, but sometimes even a serious accident will create family coming together in weird, odd ways, people communicating maybe that they didn't before. So you must accentuate any positive that you can find, even in the severest of circumstances. And I say that because When my pops died back in 1999, the family got together and different things happened and some old wounds were healed and there were things that happened with my pop's death. Now, he died, yes, but the other people were brought together from the family and we had been strung out too long. So there was a positive result of this happening. Now, that's the extreme. But just take, for example, flat tires, somebody. Most of what we as society, as I've been observing, especially at least this last year. Now, since January, when all these energies and everything have picked up, and I did a video yesterday about the Schumann resonance and all these, we're getting a lot of energy coming from the direction of the sun. Now, as I've always stated, the sun's being drugged through the galaxy, and we're circling behind it. And as the sun's moving, we're just rotating around. We're following along with us. So they're coming from the direction of the sun, but there's way too many. There are way too many bands of energy on a continuous basis. And I had the instrument set at the ISWA. Why am I coughing? So the energy coming off of there is just phenomenal. And when you look at the Schumann resonance, I was noticing that the bursts that are coming in from the galaxy are hitting the Earth in such a way that it's showing up on the Schumann resonance, in my opinion. So these energies are really wreaking havoc on the Earth, with the volcanoes and all these other stuff. That's a physical sign of what's happening. Now, when I look at all these satellites and I see all this data coming in as to what's hitting the Earth and around the Earth and all the magnetic jumbles going on, these can wreak havoc, mess with, screw up your normal energy patterns. And if you're using more of your brain than you are of your heart, then that's really going to scramble you. And throw in a cell phone and 4 and 5G towers and EMFs around the house and where you work, and you can set up issues. Now, these will all intensify the negative rather than the positive. So you have a negative issue, somebody flips you a bird, blah, 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 and you trying to get rid of it. Well, then all these other things are frying your brain and frying your body and doing all these other things that are slowing down your process of letting that negative slide. We absorb it even more. So we're getting a double whammy, if you will. Now, I live out in the country, so I'm shielded from a lot of stuff. But when I drive into town, when I go under high tension wires, I can literally feel the buzz. It's like, ooh, that's weird. So, folks call me crazy, but I'm sensitive to those types of things. I was almost electrocuted many years ago, quite by accident, but that's not the point. When you feel 220 volts zapping your body and you can't get off of it, you're stuck. Where normally it would throw you free, I almost got electrocuted. But I was working on an old merry-go-round that was built in 1912, and I slipped when I was working up top, and I hit the commutator with my arm on a steel rod and got grounded. It hurt. It threw me finally about 12 feet on the other side of the ride. Anyway, so the things that I feel and understand, when I say I can feel electricity, whatever that jolt was back then, I can feel electricity around me. So these things will actually accentuate the negative. Now, it can accentuate the positive, but you first have got to find neutral. Because if the negative is still hitting you and it's still and your body is still responding to it, where I just can't get this crap out of my head, then you're being bombarded by something else, and it's trying to imprint in you. And man, I just can't get this negative. There have been times that the dumbest thing will tick me off. And as I go through the day, I'm trying to like forget it. And it keeps coming back and wanting to replay. And that's your subconscious that does that for whatever reason. So, but as soon as I recognize, heart-wise and head-wise, I wish to feel better. I wish to ignore that negative. I wish that negative to leave me. I wish that negative to go away, and I wish my day to be positive. All those were all positive words, rather than saying, here's the negative side of the negative positive. I know that's weird. I don't want this to bother me. I don't want this emotion any longer. I don't want this to affect me. Versus, I wish this to leave me. I wish to feel better. I wish to reject the negative. I wish to only feel positive. So you're making a wish of positive versus saying, I don't want to feel this way. If you change the words around and say, I wish I feel better about this negative, okay, you can refer to it. But if you start your statement out with don't, your brain thinks don't do this. Whatever comes after the word don't, the back of your head is not paying attention to, because the first word out was don't. I don't. Don't what? Doesn't matter. The brain says don't. Don't forget this. But that's what you said. I don't want to remember this. I don't want this to affect me. But your brain hears, I don't want. What? I don't want to forget this. So it gets jumbled up. But as soon as you change your words around in a more positive way, by saying, I wish, I would rather, stay away from the don't want words, or can't. I can't forget this. You say, well, I wish I could forget this. Okay. Now, what does this mean? You're sending your subconscious a positive reinforced message, so that regardless of what comes forward, you have made your wish. And you have stated your case and made your wish to the universe. And you say, Dave, that's crap. I'm telling you this because I've used it. I continue to use it. That's why I continue to try to teach other folks. If you just change how you look at things, how you use your words, because that is what your brain's hearing. All the brain trauma and all the mind study and brain study that I've done, I've proven to myself that my subconscious replays things when I don't want it to, like seizures. I've spoken about this before. So, but to the bottom line, if we tell ourselves we wish for a better outcome, then we're all automatically set up for the next thing that comes up. Okay. So if a negative does hit us, we've already got our wish in. We wish to stay positive. We wish that this won't affect us. Now, see, this won't affect us. That's a gray area. I wish to not be affected. I wish to reject any negative energies. There are ways, and if you find certain sentences like I've just used, and please use them, turning your vocabulary around and changing the words that you speak, which also changes your thought pattern in a positive way. So the more you do this, the more it will be easier. It will show up in your life. Things that would have bothered you now seem to they're still there. They still flipped you off. They still called you an SOB. But somehow your whole body and your whole brain and your heart feels different about it, because you have started the process in your conscious brain, and your subconscious is listening. Trust me, it's listening to everything. What you can see, hear, smell, touch, and even things you don't hear, see, smell, touch, beyond the realm. It's all tucked back here in your subconscious, okay? It's there. That's why it comes out in dreams, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so to stay on the positive, just change your wording around. I know a lot of people who speak in the negative, trying to be positive. Don't eat fat. It's horrible for you. Well, actually, the new results are out that fat is actually good for you, and that anything that says diet or non-dairy or non-something, stay away from it. Just go with plain milk. Just go with plain cheese. Stay away from any kind of dietary anything. If it says diet or low fat or low carb or low, if it says low anything, don't eat it. That's the study that's out. All right. And all the holistic doctors are saying the same thing. If you eat anything that says non or, and think of it, non-fat. That's a non-word. That's a negative word. So do they negatively charge these foods? Low fat. Well, but when you start using the non-words, whoa. So now the new study's out, the cholesterol is actually good for you. Now, if you're a couch potato and you're eating 5,000 calories a day, obviously that's not good. But however, if you're a basic person that may be 10 or 15 pounds overweight, now I used to weigh 250 pounds, okay? I know, I'm a little old skinny thing. I weighed 250 pounds, and I'm now 170. Now, over the years, I lost 35 pounds, though, in 2 months. And all I did was just cut out a candy bar and a this and a that. I know what it is to be fat. I know what it is to be chubby. I know 250 pounds. And I said, what in the hell? I'm going to die. This is going to kill me. I was eating 2 plates of food and then going to dessert and then having a snack afterwards. And then coffee and drink and blah, blah, blah. 250 pounds. For somebody that's 165, with sand in his pockets, So I'm back to 172 pounds-ish kind of thing, which to me is a healthy weight. My blood pressure's good. I'll be 66 in September. So, okay, I'm as good as I can be under the circumstances, considering my age and so forth. So, but I eat regular stuff. I stay away from anything non-fat, non-this stuff, nothing diet. Stay away from it. It's got nasties in it that will keep you from losing weight. I have a friend of mine who's been struggling with weight all her life. And do you think I can talk her into staying away from a diet soda? She's got the taste in her mouth and she's got to have it. And bless her heart, she does everything she can. I mean, she starves herself, but she can't lose the weight because it's in her. The things that have gotten into her from all the non-fat and all the diet stuff are in herself. Now, the only way she can get rid of it is to stop taking those things. That'd be one. And I love her to death. And I know other people, don't get me wrong, it's just not one person, but we as a society have been duped into the diet thing. I'm telling you, you can lose weight without any of that diet stuff because I used to be 250 pounds, okay? Now, that's the positive. I decided that I was going to eat to live rather than live to eat. Isn't that funny? But that's what I found I was doing. I was living to eat. Oh, man, let's go to this restaurant. Now, don't get me wrong. Going out and having a good meal and this and that. But I mean, like I was looking for good meals at every meal. Breakfast was just not a couple of eggs and some toast. No, it was some ham and sausage and this and eggs and cheese and blah, 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 hash browns and ketchup, and then go back for seconds. Oh, yeah, there was some fruit involved in there. I love fruit, but that's not the point, After 3 plates of all this other stuff, what's a slice of melon going to do you, Now I eat. If I could fill up one plate and eat the whole thing, I would be stuffed for a day and a half. That would be all I'd need to eat. That's how I eat now. So I realized that now I eat to live, not live to eat. So there are a lot of people who are now in this mindset. Good food. Nothing wrong with good food, but that's all they focus on is the food. Ooh, yum. Now I know skinny people who do this, but there are some really large people who that's all they focus on is living to eat versus eating to live. Now I continue to pray for those folks too, because it was tough, but when I made up my mind to the positive and I told the back of my head, when I said it out loud, I intend to lose 20 pounds the first month. And I did. I intend to cut my dietary sugar thing, blah, 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 down. I did. I intend. So everything was a positive thing I said out loud so my ears could hear it, because I understand how important this is to myself and to my health. And so by saying these things, when I went to go have that third plate or whatever, it was like, do you need that plate? Do you need that third plate, David? No. Okay, well then don't. But I used to do that, but I'm changing my behavior. So as I would start to get up, my brain, I would have this really quick conversation in like 3 seconds. Sit back down. You've had enough food. And I'd roll my eyes, and my brother or whoever, I'm going back. You want something? No, I'm good. Even though my stomach or whatever, my subconscious said, but you've only had 2 plates. You got to go for a dessert. And I'm going to have half a brownie versus a brownie and ice cream and sauce on top. So when I said a half a brownie is all I need, I was satisfied with half a brownie. Now, it didn't happen the first time out. Listen. But after the first week of my consciously wanting to give it up, my conscious behavior, and always staying in the positive. Oh, well, I slipped and had a candy bar. I didn't get oh, you son of a bitch, you ate a candy. I didn't go there. I said, I ate a candy bar. Tomorrow, I'm going to give up something else. Because I had a candy bar today. To get rid of my guilt, I'm going to give up something tomorrow. And I would, because I would keep that promise. That's important. You don't slide. Well, I'll just go ahead. Well, okay. Once or twice as you're trying to get off of this thing, because sometimes your body craves these things. And in order for your body just not to go absolutely crap crazy, give it a candy bar or take a bite of the candy bar and then put the rest up. Make that candy bar last all day or into the next day. Put it in the refrigerator. That's what I would do. And I would say, okay, I love Baby Ruth and I love Milky Way. Anyway, but what I would do, okay, I got the big bar. And instead of eating one at break in the morning and another at break in the afternoon, I would have a piece in the morning, maybe a nibble at lunchtime, and I would still have half of it, we'll say, or at least a third of it by the end, by second break. So now I've had 1 candy bar instead of 2. I've stretched it out over the day, which I found out actually gives me more pleasure than eating 1 candy bar all at one time. So there was different mindsets. But as you do this, and as your body gets used to it, and as you give yourself, I'm going to take a bite, and that's my compromise. I'm not going to eat the whole thing, but I am going to have a bite, and that's my compromise to myself. I'm rewarding myself for not eating the whole damn thing. So you reward yourself and do it on purpose. I reward myself, David Null, with a bite of this candy bar, but the rest goes up for later. And stick to it. It's those people, I just eat the whole damn thing because I opened it. Oh, come on, stop it. You have no self-control. That's the other part. Now, if you're constantly feeding yourself negative energy, or if negative energy is entering into your emotional construct or your aura or whatever. And I know it's really difficult, very, very, very difficult to ward this stuff off. But the more you allow yourself to start your day off, even though there are negative things like breaking your favorite cup, whatever the issue is, that you say, okay, all right, I wish for my day to go better than it started. So give yourself the wish. I wish for my day to continue in a better light. I wish for this to go away. I wish this bad feeling to not follow me for the rest of the day. Make a positive wish, okay, for whatever this negative is. I wish that anything that comes forward today to be met with a calm attitude. However, you wish to state it. Now, let me go into a little bit of woo-woo here. This is part of the earth magic. This is magical. M-A-J-I-K. My words, not anybody else's. My interpretation. However, the words we speak and the way we speak them are magic. Okay? Because of our intent. When we put our intent forward with what we speak, that makes it magical. Okay? So if you continue your intent, if you ground yourself and do simple things in life, then these magical words will help you. It will go into your little subconscious brain, and instead of your brain repeating the negative all day long, it can and will repeat the positive wish. I wish for this day to go well. I wish for negative things to pass me by. I wish. So if you plant these magic words into your brain, then it will replay that instead of don't forget your keys. Don't forget, don't. The whole day starts out that way. Remember your keys. Remember to wear your helmet to school. Remember to take your medicine. Remember to take your lunch. It's sitting on the counter. Remember. And if you say, don't forget, you've ruined it. Stay away from the don't as much as you can, because the brain is listening. So implant the magic words, I wish. Now don't go off on a tangent with me. I'm saying that what we speak is magical, not as in a magic spell. What we speak and our intent is magical in itself, in a natural, earthly, human kind of way. It's not into the woo-woo, but for a lot of people, it is woo-woo. But it's very natural, and as long as we do these things, I mean, I think of indigenous tribes and the powwows I've been to, and people wake up in the morning and it might be raining, and they step out of the teepee and they stand and they raise their arm and go, well, I guess we're going to dance in the rain today, Creator. Thank you for the water and thank you for the shower. I've had my morning bath, and they dry off and go about their business. And you say, well, but it's raining. Yeah, well, but rain is a blessing. But they were going to have a powwow that day, and how can you have a sacred fire when it's pouring down rain? Creator allows that if that's what's needed. It might be that the rain is more necessary, but to the point, how you look at what you see, and it might be that you get up on the grumpy side of the bed, which used to happen to me too many times in my life. I can understand why people are like, what's wrong with you, dude? Grumpy. Because I allowed little tiny things to get to me, and it made me grumpy. And then I stopped one day, looked in the mirror, and I went, what the hell are you so grumpy about? But, and I found all these buts. And then as I'm looking at myself in the mirror, I started laughing, and I thought, you stupid, you're pissed off about but, which is all, but somebody did something, and somebody blah, 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 and blah, 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 blah. And so as soon as I started changing my attitude about that, when something came up negative, that I expected. Now I'm thinking of when I was director and producer of community theater. You know, you expect someone to bring a prop in or something, or somebody's supposed to do the lights or painting, whatever it is, and it doesn't get done. And you go, well, that going crazy didn't fix the issue. All it did was create negative energy for the rest of the cast and crew, because I was like, that son of a bitch. They all picked up on the negative energy. And when I saw them respond like that to my negative response to something, I went, oh, now I'm wanting these people to be calm and cool and collected, and here I am over here being irate. Oh, bad example. Oh, I'm the director. Oh, I'm supposed to have more calm and cool about this. No, I was a lot more calm and cool than a lot of other directors I've worked with. That's not the point. Me personally, as a director, and my cast standing over there watching this negative attitude, I had to re-examine how I spoke, what my intent was, and that was towards them. But then I took that same energy and that same thing that I learned, because I got an immediate response from their reaction. I looked at my life and I realized that I was reacting to myself in these negative ways because of the but this happened and that happened and this happened, that happened. And then I realized, so did any of those things cause like immortal damage, or did the sky fall, or, and I had to stop and look at it and go, that's really petty. The things that and it's just everyday stuff, but I found I had to say, Dave, that's petty. What in the dickens why are you reacting in a negative way to that little incident? And medicines, I was on some weird medicines that was making me react, but there was also these cosmic things that was affecting me that I was simply not aware of. So I'm speaking in terms of all kinds of things. And I wish to speak of the cosmic things because they're making a lot of people who would normally seem normal act weird. So if we stay on the positive and accept and so forth, put these wishes, a positive wish, in our brains as soon as possible. And even if it's halfway through the day and you stop and go, oh crap, I've been negative Nelly. Oh man, shoot. Forgive yourself. Number one. Okay, I'm sorry, but I wish to change my behavior from this point forward. So even if it started out bad, you can stop it just by paying attention to yourself and what's going on. Now, I know there are times when I know I've been in situations where I feel like I'm in a damn movie and I can't stop what's going on or my reactions or things like that. And that gets really weird. However, as I started practicing and using, okay, not just practicing, but it does take practice, but start using daily, and I would find ways like, that's a negative. I could almost see a negative headed my direction. When I was working at a job, or somebody be walking toward you and they got that look on their face like I'm gonna rip. You kind of go, oh, this person's coming over here now. Should I react to their bodily, their facial expressions? Now, the dog just bit them outside and they just came in. So, but when they walk towards me, I see them in a negative light because they got this scowl on their face. And when, damn dog bit me. Okay. But if I don't know what's happened and I'm reacting to the person's body language, and we all do this, if you react to the person's body language, you may be reacting to something you're not aware of. So you see something, and your body and your mind and your brain, but what does your heart tell you? Maybe I should shut up. Maybe I should react differently. Maybe I should just be neutral for a minute and let this person be angry or whatever. And then I might find out, versus making up my mind before that person ever gets to me. And we do that on a subconscious level all the time, all the time. Our back brain back here is watching this stuff. And it will give us, we'll have heart palpitations, our palms will sweat, and you get a little, the inside of your stomach goes jittery. These are all the little signs and tricks that are saying, I'm reacting to something. And a lot of times it's visual, a little oral, smelly, whatever the thing is. We smell and sense things that, our conscious brain doesn't really understand. But as the total package, it's the seeing, the hearing, the smelling, and even possibly the taste in the air. It's dogs, cats, animals do it. So we do it as well. We're just not aware of it. Now, does the dog get up in the morning and say, I wish to have a good day? The dog gets up and wags his tail because it is a good day. He's a dog. He wakes up, or she wakes up, waggy, 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 waggy. Good morning, master. Good morning. Take me out. Take me out. Want to play. Feed me. Whatever it is. Cats, they don't give a crap. Meow. Feed me. Okay, meow. But a dog, happy all the time. Okay. Now, we could be more like the cat when we have to deal with the outside world. Happy, happy, happy. Growl when we need to, I'm not saying be a pacifist and get your ass whooped. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying, do we need to be mad at everything? Do we need to react in a negative way to things negative thrown our way? And the answer is no. Because it's been proven, still being proved. I'm proof to myself. And I hope that you will try this. That when you start wishing for the good on a positive way, even after something negative, crappy's happened, you still have the choice whether or not to drag it with you from day to day, to week, or minute to minute, or hour to hour. It's your choice to drag it forward. And I've talked about the long cotton row and the old slaves. They started out at the beginning of that row. By the time they got to the end of that row, the bag was full and they were dragging 200 pounds of cotton behind them, and they were still picking and still pulling. When they got to the end of that thing, they couldn't wait to dump that sack out. Now, many of us, we don't dump the sack out. We go to the next row, and that's carrying it too far. Carry it to the end of the row and then empty it. Whatever those negatives are, whatever those emotions are, drop them at the end of the row. Empty it right now. Your choice is to carry it forward or to leave it where it is. You have the choice if a negative remark comes in on a chat room or somebody calls you a libtard. I hate that word. I'm sorry, but I do. I hate that word. And I'm getting a little annoyed at some of these people who are using the word, but that's another issue. But it's the language being put out, okay, that you're retarded if you're a little bit liberal. I considered myself liberal for a long time, and now I don't know how I ended up being a damn conservative and voting Republican, for God's sakes. I was for Jack Kennedy and blah, 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 Anyway, things change. People change. And so those things that come our way, we have the choice to accept or reject. I'll deal with this now. And let me give you a little heads up. The spirits say and the angels say, it's okay to get angry. Okay? It's how long you stay angry that makes a difference. You SOB, you run over my foot. Oh, God, my foot has a real. Okay, leave it there. Instead of continuing with the anger and the fighting and the screaming, give it 2 minutes. If you push your anger 3 minutes, you've gone over the limit. You still have the choice to retract it or redact it and say, I said these things in anger. I wish that they would be forgiven for what I have just said. So you say a negative. You're pissed off. You react in a humanly way, which is okay. We're human. All right. We'll get over it. Right. Even though we're trying to be spiritual and change to the better, we're still human beings. And we must acknowledge that and forgive ourselves for being human. That was a human reaction. I wished that those negative energies will cease. I wish that those negative things I spoke will no longer be heard. I wish to apologize for what I said. And leave it. Drop it right there. If you lost your temper, whatever, give yourself the opportunity. But at the same time, don't hold back if you're pissed off. But again, maybe you could be pissed off over in the corner and scream at something neutral versus the person. Sometimes they deserve it, though. But you still have the choice. So keep the choice in mind. Stay in the positive. I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you will start practicing this, you'll find out how well it works. And somebody came in, Ice Station Z. These are the learnings we didn't get much of once we were turned over to the others for growth. We missed the tribal elders in our growth, went to schools and churches. Only the few find a path back. Sometimes the collective, we, is the way back. Glad I lived long enough to be here and with those in chat windows in the broad community. Where are you located? State? I'm in Maryland. Well, I Station Z, I'm in South Georgia. I think Marie's in Australia. I try to remember things, and sometimes, I get confused. But to the point, we all have been led astray. And when you speak of tribal elders, one of the things that is coming back, and it annoys me that I hear it like from political things, this tribalism. Hang on, folks. Tribalism, if you really know what tribe means, that's a good thing. So they're trying to make the word tribe, as I've described, we are all a tribe of one. And that our collective is what makes up this tribe of one. Now, we should each stay individual, and we are each good at what we do, and we might both be artists, we might both be carpenters, but you might build superstructures, and I might build sheds, or fences. There are carpenters who do these things, there are finished carpenters, to the point. There are, plumbers who fix sinks, and there are plumbers who do high-rise apartments, okay? So there's all these types of things. We're all good at some point in something, and we should just respect those things that we know, and we should respect anyone who wishes to learn something else. Now, the problem we have in our society is if somebody goes to school and gets an education, they automatically can look down upon the rest of us. I never had a college degree, only a 2-year degree, but I beat out 7 other engineers with master's degrees because I learned machine shop from an old dude in a greasy place, in a small town. And I was able to sit with the best of those guys and say, I'm sorry, you guys are wrong. Because I've worked the metal. I learned as an apprentice. We don't have apprentices anymore, And what I find strange is that now that Donald Trump is the president, and he used to have the show, The Apprentice, one of the things he's trying to restart in America, which I think is a great idea, is trade schools, okay? Machine shops, things like that. But here's the point. It's no good to have a machine shop if there's no manufacturing business. He's trying to bring back manufacturing so that we can do hands-on again. What's the point of building all these houses and high-rises if no one can afford to live in? If everybody works at a bank, if everybody's a manager, if everybody's a this, and the rest of us are all poor folk who are working for minimum wage, you're building this stuff with substandard labor because you're getting the Mexicans cheap. Trust me, it happens down here in the South all the time. Ticks me off because I was a contractor at one time and I couldn't compete. I couldn't pay my guys minimum wage. I was paying them above minimum wage. at the time was $7 an hour, which it was like four something at the time. But the Mexicans all worked for four something because they thought that was a lot of money. Now my guys were like, I can't work for $4. I got to have more. So I would pay them $7, knowing I wished I could pay them 10. And it still wasn't enough. But I got undercut because there's 20 Mexican guys that can go in and do a job where 3 or 4 white guys who are trying to do the same job. Oh, but these guys go in. Oh, okay. So the white guys get chunked out. There were 10 different, in my area alone, there were 10 different people, contractors that I knew that got run out of business because of cheap Mexican labor here in Moultrie, Thomasville, and Cairo, Georgia. 10 people I knew, not counting myself. Now, so folks talk about, oh, migrant issue, there were a lot of good white carpenters, and black carpenters too, I might add, that were undercut by cheap Mexican labor. They didn't have to pay them Social Security because they were paying them under the table. All these things happen. Ooh, I got off on a topic, didn't I? But I've learned about different people, and I've seen a lot of different things. So with the knowledge that I have attained, I hope I can impart some of this off into you. Even with those negative things, I'm like, okay, there's got to be a positive in here somewhere. Well, it did. It led me in a different direction. It made me think in another direction. Even though I love building houses and doing stuff like that, I was more into the additions versus building them from ground up, which I could do. I had my license and all the insurance, blah, blah, blah. But to the point, though, I found out that there were other things that I could do. That if there were 10 Mexicans who, they were already here and they were going to suck off the government or do something anyway, why not go ahead and have them make some money and at least go to the local stores? Walmart. I find it interesting, though, that if we take the lemons and make lemonade, as the old saying goes, our attitude is everything. And so my life took a hard right turn or a left turn, depending on which way you're facing. And actually, I did an about face and crossed the road again, but that's for another story too. But I went more into my puppetry, and I traveled around and I visited folks. I taught children about arts and imagination until I got disabled, until I got really hurt. But during that period, there were lots of children and adults that I was able to pass along the magic of puppetry, storytelling, theater arts, and that type of thing, how to be creative and how to bring forth yourself and how to be a more positive person. And I really loved that. So, but because I'm not able to drive like I could and travel and so forth, I'm now trying to learn how to do this medium here, because I still feel that the information is necessary. And we as a society, we can act better than we do. There are so many people with, yeah. Oh, the next new Supreme Court justice. There are Democrats who just heard the guy's name and they're already going, I will fight to the end to keep this man from being a Supreme Court justice, simply because he hates Trump, having not even given the first credit. Or did you look into the guy? I mean, the president just announced his name, and 10 minutes later, there are 50 people who are going to reject him. This is insanity. This is social insanity, okay? These people who jump up, it wouldn't have mattered who President Trump would have picked, okay? It wouldn't have, because they would have found fault no matter what. And so, and these are the kinds of things we are facing every day. So these negativisms are being slammed down our throat. How do we choose to stay away from that? I want to get involved and go, you stupid MS and blah, blah, blah. But I think to myself, a better way to look at this is going, yeah, okay, so you vote negatively. If you wish that to be your way, if that's how you wish, I'm going to pray for you that you're going to change your mind, that you're going to see the light. I'm praying for you, buddy, to change your brains. I'm praying. I'm going to put my intent in that you will see this person for what he is and what is being trying to being done. What's wrong with a constitutional judge? We need constitutional judges. We need people who look at the law for what it is and don't interpret it personally. This particular guy seems to fit the bill. Now, what's wrong with that? I want somebody who's a constitutional judge. Why would anyone argue against that? See, they're going to take something that is a positive, which is a constitutional judge, and they're going to say, oh, but that means that you're going to keep your guns. Well, yeah. Well, that means you have free speech rights. Well, yeah, because it's in the Constitution. Oh, but that means, yeah, and that kind of upsets you because a lot of those folks out there think that the Constitution is too old and unreliable. It's not. It's the interpretation of it. And if they interpret the Constitution correctly, it's the laws that are bad, not the Constitution. We've got so many laws that push the Constitution, but because they're state laws, that's a separate issue. So folks get all upset about what this is going on and that's going on, yada, yada, yada. They put a negative spin on something that's actually positive, okay? Constitutional judge, we want constitutional judges. Yes. We want people that want to stick with the Constitution, not just the Second Amendment, all of them, the entire articles, all of them, and interpret them as they should be without being personal. Now, I watched Lionel Nation, and Lionel made a good point. He goes, he said, I hate the death penalty. I'm against the death penalty. Now, I know they're murderers and things, and he grew up in Tampa and some of the same Catholic schools. I know where he went to school, blah, blah. Anyway, so I understand where Lionel's coming from. But at the same point, with that little homeboy kind of thing with being from Tampa, that I also look at his point of view in that, okay, he says, I don't like the death penalty. But if I were a judge on the Supreme Court or the judiciary underneath, and if the state of Florida, which he's from, wants to execute a guy, as long as they had went through all of the procedures correctly, he said, even though I'm against the death penalty, I would have to, as a judge, say you followed the law correctly. Only if there's a discrepancy in the procedures should the Supreme Court or any other judicial body judge otherwise. If there was admission of evidence, whatever the issue, that's the point. It's not whether or not I, meaning Lionel as the judge, feel that the death penalty is right or wrong. That's not my judgment call. The judgment call as a judge is to interpret this as being correct procedurally, so forth. So we need people like that. If somebody says, I'm against Roe versus Wade and I think it needs to be out, but it's the law. And if states make the law, blah, 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 are you willing to uphold the law regardless of how you feel? It's important. So we need people like that. That's a positive thing, because if someone can step out of themselves and their personal feeling and be a judge and be critical and be neutral, but do his job correctly, those are the types of folks we need. And that's the positive things we need to put around. And people like that are not dime a dozen. They're hard to find. So we need to be positive and help these people. Stay away from the negative. Don't pick on them, okay? Just be nice and say, maybe you might not have enough information. Maybe, approach your negativism. If you want to beat somebody up because of their opinion, do so in a kind way. Maybe you don't have enough information. I'll pray for you anyway. Have a nice day. Oh, they'll cuss at you. They'll throw slings and arrows. But but you don't have to. All you got to do is put up your shield and say, throw all the arrows you want. I still wish you have a nice day, clunk. You know, that's how it works. So I love you all. I really do. And I thank you all for having any time and spending with me. Adopt, or fade away. Um, Far and few, yes. Well, but we are all part of that collective, and we all pass along what we learn or do or anything. So even if you don't go out and teach something like this or whatever, if you just go out and smile at someone instead of a scowl, there you go. You have a wonderful evening too. I know it's headed into nighttime for you. It's 11:10 here, my time, Eastern Daylight. So, or morning. Thank you very much, Miss Marie. We'll talk soon. And I got to go out and feed cats and do the little bit of farm chores here. We've got blue skies with a haze today, and it's already getting warm outside. So, but it's South Georgia in the summertime. So I love you all. Be at peace. Be kind to one another. That's the biggest thing. Be nice to one another, even though they might tick you off. I love you all. And have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Oh, and by the way, I'll be live tonight, either 9 or 10 o'clock on Milky Way Weekly on YouTube. So talk to you soon. Adios.